Particular, we hear the same line over and over again from the White House that these emails prove literally nothing. That is an exact quote of what we've heard from the White House. Now, it was also clear that President Trump, he doesn't want to talk about this. This is him earlier today when asked by our producer, Kit Mahar, about those Epstein files and those emails.
Sir, any response to the Epstein emails that mention your name?
So very quick there, but absolutely no engagement at all when it comes to President Trump. But there are still a number of questions. And I'll tell you, I talked to a number of Trump allies who have told me that they are perplexed by the White House's response to this, that there is a lot of confusion as to why it is that they are putting this out there in bits and pieces or allowing this to be essentially something that they are on the defense about instead of the offense. And I do just want to point out Manu's interviews there. I mean, that is absolutely stunning when it comes to this administration. You almost never see a break like that from what the administration is wanting and members of the Republican Party on Capitol Hill pushing back in those kind of numbers.
Yeah, and the man himself from all of that great reporting, Manu, is here too. Manu, what do we know about the schedule here? And if you could help us understand too, I mean, does Mike Johnson have to send this straight over to the Senate? I mean, what is the landscape coming up?
Yeah, we expect to vote probably earlier next week, potentially as early as Tuesday. And the big question is going to be not if this will pass, but by how much and how many Republicans will ultimately break ranks. And talking to Republican sources, they are bracing for mass defections from the White House. And the big number to watch here is whether or not 2/3 of the House majority will vote for this. And that, of course, is the important number because that is a veto-proof majority if it does get to that. In talking to Republicans today, it seems like that is possible at this point. Now, Trump, of course, will lay pressure down. Maybe they'll change the calculus here, but a lot of Republicans are making the decision that, look, we support full transparency. It's going to be hard for them to stomach voting against a bill simply calling for the release of these files that could shed new light over this sex trafficking ring. So that's going to be the big question in the next week or so. How many of those members that I've been speaking to, they represent a broad cross-section of the Republican conference. Many of the more conservative members have long called for a release of the Epstein files, but a lot of the moderate members, too, they are supporting this as well, including ones from swing districts who certainly don't want to be on a vote that could give their Democratic opponents ammunition in a general election, which is a big reason why the Republican leadership essentially wanted to rip the Band-Aid off, have the vote next week, because this was coming to the floor at the latest by early December. So have the vote next week, let it be done with, and then it will pass. And if there is a 2/3 majority or even close to that, it's going to put enormous pressure on Senate Republican leadership to put this on the floor of their chamber because they have no interest in putting this on the floor right now. But big Republican support could change that calculus as well.
All right, Manu Raju, Kristen Holmes, thank you very much for starting us off with this. And joining us now, a key member of the House Oversight Committee, Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas. She also sits on the House Judiciary Committee. Congresswoman, thanks very much for being here.
Absolutely.
At this point, does the House Oversight Committee have, to your knowledge, more documents to put out? Do you know more about what these documents may say about President Trump or other powerful politicians that the public does not know yet?
Yeah, there's still more that committee staff is going through and determining what needs to be redacted before the release. And then we always consult with leadership on the Republican side as well before any drops are made public. And I fully anticipate that we will receive more, at least from the estate of Epstein. It does not seem like the Department of Justice has really been inclined to actually participate, which is one reason that we're talking about this discharge petition and talking about this vote. It's because we need something with a little bit more fire behind it to hopefully get the Department of Justice to finally start to cooperate.
Why is it that Epstein's estate, I mean, Todd Blanche, the president's deputy attorney general now, he wrote this morning that when he went to interview Ghislaine Maxwell, quite a moment, that law enforcement didn't have the materials that Epstein's estate hid for years and only just provided to Congress. Why is he saying this now, and why is the estate talking to Congress if not to the DOJ?
Have you ever heard of SWAA? That's exactly what we've got going on. And it was interesting because you made a Freudian slip. You said the president's attorney. You're right. That's who he is.
I should have said former personal attorney.
That's who he is, though. Like, I'm sticking with it. I get what you got to say. But at the end of the day, that's what he's been trying to do. He's been trying to do Trump's bidding. He has not been acting like anyone's attorney general. And we know that when it comes down to whether you're the deputy or whether you are, say, Pam Bondi, the actual AG, you are supposed to be the people's attorney. But she has decided that she wants to neglect the people and do whatever it is that Trump wants her to do, along with Todd Blanche. So here it is. He's like, well, I didn't have all the information. Well, sir, did you try to get the rest of the information? Do we know for sure that the Department of Justice didn't have this information? And if they didn't have this information, do we know whether or not they actually deleted this information?